Don't waste time on bad leads. This n8n automation scrapes Google Maps and delivers a clean list of local businesses, complete with real websites, verified emails, and can be CRM ready. It's formatted for an Airtable base or a Google Sheet. It'll filter out the junk so you get the high quality personal prospects automatically, and it's fully customizable to fit your niche or your workflow. By the way, this is a completely digital AI avatar of myself that I created entirely with automation. If you want to learn how to create intros just like this, where you don't have to lift a finger, then jump into my school community to learn more. Side note on this video, I definitely got my terms mixed up and keep saying qualified leads when I'm referring to verified leads. If you're familiar with this type of jargon, you'll see what I mean pretty quickly. What's up, guys? So in today's step-by-step tutorial, we're going to be building out this n8n workflow. This will scrape Google Maps and get a list of local businesses, verify emails, and drop everything into a CRM. If you want to download this workflow, this Airtable base, or the Google Sheets list for free, you can join my school community. I have all of my automation templates available to download in the classroom. You can check out all the supplementary tutorials, and in the vault there are a ton of resources like AI assistant prompts to help you build whatever you want. I've got the link to my school community in the description of this video. I look forward to seeing you in the group. Otherwise, let's get into the build. All right, let's get right into it. We're in a new n8n Canvas workspace. I'll come up here to name the workflow. Let's name it Google Maps Scraper Demo. You can name yours whatever you want. I click the plus to create the first node. For this one, let's start off with a form. We can enter our inputs with a form here. So I'm going to type in form in the search bar, find the trigger event. Form title can be search query, and the description is search for businesses, something like that. You can put in whatever you want for these two parts. For the form element, click the button. For this, let's call this search query and click on test step. Now we can enter in a query here. Let's say landscapers in PHX area. So I'll just look for landscapers in the Phoenix area, click on submit. I'll close down this form and we can see we have that data coming through. I'll switch to the schema view in the output. We've got our search query coming across in the output. I'll click outside the node. Slide down, let's click the plus to create a new node. This will be HTTP request. We can type in HTTP in the search bar, find the HTTP request node. Now for this one, we're going to use SERP API just to do a simple Google search. So I'm going to jump over to SERP API. You can search for serpapi.com. You can create a free account. I'll go ahead and sign in. And right away, we're shown our API key. So if you need to check your API key, you can come into the API key section here and create an API key. And we're going to find the API we want to use over here for this build. We're going to use the Google Maps API. Click on that. I'll scroll down in this API to find the code right here. I want to select the C URL. I'll copy this curl right here. We can see the API key is listed again right here, just in case. Copy that code, come back into n8n, come up here to import curl, paste that right there, click import. And now we've got everything coming through into the URL itself. So everything's baked into this URL. If I expand this out, click on expression, click the icon here to expand the expression window, we can see everything in there and our API key right here. So that's what we need to look for. Now there's a section in here that says Q equals coffee. In this example, that's just the query that is being presented here. So I'm actually going to delete out this Q equals coffee and this ampersand right here, just getting rid of that extra ampersand. And I also want to delete out the latitude and longitude. We have this LL equals and the coordinates right here. I'm just going to delete that out plus the ampersand. Now it should say Google_Maps ampersand API key, just like that. I'll click outside of the expression window and add that query parameter back in here. Click on send query parameters. For the name here, type in Q, and for the value, we're going to drop in our search query from the form node right there. Let's click on test step. Great, so that'll send that search query over to SERP API and we'll get those results back. I'm going to click outside of the node, click the plus to create a new node, type in split in the search bar. we'll find the split out node. Now what we need to split out here is the local results. This is going to be the search results that we're looking for. I'll grab this entire array, drop that in here, click test step. Now we're getting our actual results. Here's the title of the landscaping business here. Here's the location, stuff like that is already coming through. And you can see I've got 20 items coming back from that. I'll click outside of the node. Let's go ahead and save the workflow. Click the plus to create a new node. Type in set. We want the edit fields node, and we'll just clean up some of this data coming through. So first thing I'm going to grab here, let's grab the title, and we'll call it, drop it into that box, and we'll rename it business name. Doesn't matter how you really name it, but keeping a consistent naming conventions for later on down this automation chain is going to be really important. So I'm just going to name this one just like that. Now we can grab the place ID if we need to look that up. We can grab the GPS coordinates. I'll grab this object right here. That way we'll grab both the latitude and longitude so we can find the exact location. This is great for doing specific searching, and we'll be using this later on down the automation chain. We can grab the rating. I like to grab the rating of a business to reference. We'll scroll down. We can add in the type as well. Pretty clear we want landscapers, as that was part of our search query, but I'll drop the type in there. Keep on scrolling down and we can get the address. Drop the address in there. Drop the phone number in there. Let's grab that. The website, drop that in there. Keep scrolling down. Let's see what else we need here. Here's an online booking link that might be useful to grab if you want. I think that's good for me, however, so let's go ahead and test this step. Now we're just getting the relevant business information out of all of this data. I'm gonna go ahead and rename this node. Click the pencil icon. Let's name it to business details. I'll click outside of the node. Now, just for testing, we have all of these businesses coming through, but just for testing, I wanna limit the number of businesses actually coming through this automation. That way we're not having to wait for tons of data to process. So I'm gonna click the plus here, type in limit and find the limit node. And let's limit the operations. Let's limit the number of businesses to 2 businesses coming through just for testing. I'll click on test step. Now we've got 2 businesses coming through this limiter. If I click on the table view, we can see both of these here. We got MS Landscaping, Divine Design Landscaping. Looks like this one doesn't have an address, but we got 2 phone numbers and 2 websites. Great. I'm going to click outside the node. Now for this node, we're going to process and qualify that data a little bit further. So let's add an OpenAI node. I like to use OpenAI. You can use any LLM you're familiar with. I'm going to choose the message a model node. And we need to set up a credential with OpenAI. So if you have not set up a credential before, I have the tutorial in my school community. If you jump over there, check out that tutorial. You can follow that to set up your OpenAI credential. Otherwise, click into this dropdown, click on create new credential, and follow the docs to set up your API key. For the model, I'm going to drop this down, choose GPT-4o Mini. It's definitely a cost-effective model for this simple operation. Now for the prompt. I'm going to grab this from the school community. So I'm going to jump over to digital automation diagram. In my community, in the classroom, in the vault, in the AI agent system instructions, we have a lead enrichment agent. I'll grab this one right here. So copy this entire prompt just like that. Now, if you are working along from YouTube, I'll have a link to this document in the description of this video. Let's jump back into n8n and paste the prompt in here. I'll click into the box, paste it, but then come over here to switch to expression mode. Click the icon here to expand this, and we can double check the prompt. We've got these JSON objects. So we have the business name. One of the reasons it was important to name this, if you named it something different right here, then you can just drag and drop this JSON. I'll just delete out this green part, and we can grab the business name and drag it in between the quotes just like that. Then we need to fix the business location right here. We've got GPS coordinates, but you can see it's coming back as 2 objects. So I'm gonna delete out that object, and we'll put in the latitude, comma, and longitude. There we go. Now we've got that actual location coming through. I'll click outside of the expression field, slide down, and toggle on output content as JSON. Before we click on test step, let's come down here to add a tools node to this OpenAI node. Click on the plus there, and we're going to add the SERP API tool. Type in SERP, find the SERP API tool. Choose your same credential right here. So if you don't have a credential set up, you can create a new credential right here. drop this down, click on create new credential and drop your SERP API key right in here. Then save that credential. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to choose my same credential, click outside of the node. Now we can test this step, and the OpenAI node will do some Google searches with that data. So I'm going to click the play button right here to test the step. While that's running, I'll go ahead and save the workflow, and that's going to run through those two businesses and look up all that information to qualify some of the data there. And there we go. We got our two businesses back. Let's click the plus to create the next node. Can type in set in the search bar, find the edit fields node, and let's grab some stuff coming over from OpenAI node. So we have the owner name. I'm going to first grab the business name again right here, and we want to rename this one simply just business name. That's coming from this object inside of OpenAI. We want to name it back to what it was essentially. I'm going to grab the owner name right here. Same thing, I'll rename this simply owner name, and email. We can drop that in there. This is the owner's email. So I'm going to enter that in here. I'll type in owner, name this one owner email, the same sort of naming conventions I'm using up here. And phone number, we'll drop that one in. This is owner phone number. Looks like we have a Twitter we can take a look at, and possibly a LinkedIn. I'll skip those for now, but I want to come back down and pass through some of the data we had before. So under the owner phone number, I'm going to drop in some of this information, just keep it coming down the automation chain. So the place ID, let's grab the rating. We can skip GPS coordinates. We needed that for this enrichment. Let's grab the type address, drag and drop that in, and the business phone number and the website. There we go. I'll come up here to rename this node. Let's rename it enriched lead, rename it, click on test step, and we've got that enriched data coming through. Looks great. I'm going to click outside of the node. And for this next one, I'll click the plus, type in code. We're going to add a code node just to clean up some of the data here. So in this code node, I'm going to grab this one from the school community, and we want this one right here. Code node clean email. This is the actual code we're going to enter in there. You can copy and paste this right here. Go ahead, take a screenshot, drop it into ChatGPT, write out this code for you. I'm going to go ahead and copy this right here, jump into n8n, paste the code in there. Now it's important to come up here and say, drop this down to say run once for each item. Click on test step, and we're probably not going to get any output data. So let's come back in here and rename this one. Owner email right here. Let's name this one owner email. Same thing. Owner email spelled just like that, and test the step. Great. So now we've got some clean emails. The reason I have this step in here is sometimes there is hidden characters, hidden white space, hidden things inside the email that the next node cannot handle. So we're simply outputting a clean email for our qualification. I'm going to click outside of the node and click the plus to create the next node. This will be HTTP. On the HTTP request node. Okay, for this one, we're going to get into another service. It's called hunter.io. I'm going to jump over there. And here you can create a free account with hunter.io. We're going to be using the API over here. You get very limited number of API requests on the free plan, but for this video and testing stuff out, you can definitely do this for free. I'm going to click the API right here, and we've got our API key. Now this one's very simple. We want to verify the emails that we're scraping from those businesses. Essentially, we're going to be able to email each of those owner emails coming through that list, but having a step to verify all those emails. That way we're not wasting time sending to dead emails. So let's just copy this entire URL. I'll click copy, jump back into n8n, and we could import that in here, paste it right into the URL. I'll click the expression button, expand it, and we've got everything in here just like that. Now for the email, we're going to swap this out dynamically. We've got our API key, everything in there, it looks good. But right here for the email equals, we can see this patrick@stripe.com sample data. I'll just delete that out, and we're going to grab the email coming from the code node. So I'll drag and drop this schema right after the email equals, and now we've got those emails coming in to this tool. I'm going to click outside of this expression window, make sure your method remains on get, and click test step. There we go. We'll switch to the schema view and we've got a status right here. That's what we're going to use to determine if this email is valid or not. So I'm going to jump up here, rename this node hunter.io, rename it. Click outside the node. Let's slide on down. We'll save the workflow. Click the plus to create a new node. This will be a filter. Grab the filter node and we'll drag in that status from hunter.io into value 1. Value 2, we'll type in valid. That way we're saying, is valid equal to valid? Yes, it is. Pass it on down. Click on test step and we'll see we've got 2 kept items. So both of our emails, both of our businesses are verified working emails. All right, let's click the plus to create a new node. Type in set. This will be another edit fields node. So we're going to just merge some of the old data with the qualified data. So we're going to grab this email from the filter here and we can call this one qualified email. Then scroll down to our edit fields node for the enriched lead. We can grab, again, the business name, just bringing everything through. We now have our qualified email, so you can choose to add the owner email or not. I'm going to add the owner name, skip the owner email. We have that qualified email, owner phone number, place ID, rating, type, address, phone number. This is the business phone number and the website. Great. Click on test step. Let's click up here to rename this qualified leads, rename it. Click outside of the node, save the workflow. Let's click the plus to create a new node. Let's add an Airtable node. Now we can do this in Google Sheets. I prefer using Airtable. So for this video, I figured let's just do both. I'm going to build out my Airtable base. I think Airtable is much better and definitely much more flexible. Later on, I'll be expanding on this tutorial and creating an email system to reach out to all of these leads inside of Airtable. So I'm going to use Airtable here. We want to create a record and we need to create a credential with Airtable. If you don't know how to do that, I have the link to the tutorial on setting up an Airtable personal access token for n8n. You can jump into the school community, watch that tutorial. Otherwise, drop this down, click on create new credential, open the docs to figure out how to create that personal access token. Now we're going to want to choose the base and the table. Let's hop over to Airtable and create a new Airtable base. Here I am in my dashboard. I'll click create to create a new base. Click on start from scratch. Now the easiest way, I want to build out this list here, these headers with all of the items from my n8n node. All of these items are going to become headers. So what I'm going to do is just copy all of these items here. Copy that. Let's jump into ChatGPT and I'll paste those items here. So something like that. And I'll say list of items and sample data. Can you create a table with these items as headers? There we go. We can expand out this table. Take a look. We've got qualified email, business name, owner, everything from that list and the sample data added in there just like that. That's great. So I'm going to click outside of this blow up and I'll say export this as CSV file. I'll download that CSV file. Let's come back into Airtable and I just want to clean up my base a little bit. So I'm going to come up here to close down this getting started. Come up here to name my base, qualified leads. I can change the color. Now I'm going to create a new table. Click the plus here. We want to create one from a CSV file. I'll go and browse for that CSV file or drag and drop it in here. There's that CSV. I'll drop it into the window. Click on upload one file, create a new table, click next. There we go. We've got our new table in here. So I think I want to change some of these fields, just the default field type, right? So I'll change that one to an email. This one is a phone number. This one can remain a number, address, phone. This one will be a phone number. Website, this can be a URL. Cool. Let's click import. And now we've got our new imported table here. I'll double click on this table, name it qualified leads, click save, and I can delete out the sample data. This is technically the first record already set, ready to go for us, but I'm going to delete it out and make sure that automation is working correctly. So I'll just select that checkbox, hit delete on the keyboard, then actually delete this entire record. I'll right click on the record, click delete lead. And now we've got our table in Airtable set up. So we've got our table set up here. Let's go set up the Google Sheets table, just for those of you wanting to see some Google Sheets action. I know a lot of you have been requesting it, so I'm going to add another node coming out of the qualified leads node here. Before we add that Google Sheets node, I'm going to dive back into the Airtable node, double click back into it, and I need to choose my base from this list. So that's something I forgot to do. Let's jump back over to Airtable. Let's come up to the account settings. And we want to find the Builder Hub. I'll open the Builder Hub in a new tab. And we've got the personal access token section here under the developers. Click on that and we can create a new access token. You can follow the tutorial on setting up a new access token in my school community. I'm going to click on Add a Base. There's my qualified leads base. Add that to the list here, click on Save Changes. Now, when we jump back into n8n, I can choose that base from that list. In fact, I need to choose that correct access token up here. So that was added to my testing connection. Choose that base, qualified leads, choose the table. We have the qualified leads table. Just to affirm what's going on here, I have a base called qualified leads and a table called qualified leads. Now all of the fields are in there just like that, and they match the items over here exactly. So what we can do, instead of dragging everything over like we've been doing this entire time, we can drop this down and say map automatically. Great, I'll click on test step. And we've got everything coming into Airtable. Let's take a look at Airtable. There it is, our two businesses with a owner phone number and an owner email, just like that. So I'm gonna switch around just to polish this one off. Drag and drop the business name over here into the primary field. Click on change primary field. And now we've got the email over here as a regular field. So that looks pretty good. I can run this entire automation, start loading up my leads list, and have a CRM in the making here to send out some emails for these businesses. So let's jump back over to n8n. I'll click outside of this node. Let's move this one up and drag a toggle handle outside of this node. We're going to create that Google Sheets node. So I'll type in Google Sheets. Let's find the Google Sheets node. We want to append row in sheet. Now, same thing here. You'll have to set up your Google Sheets credential. Once you do that, you'll be able to sign in with Google. I'll click on my sign in with Google button, sign in with my account, say continue, and we've got that connection set up. If you don't know how to set up your Google credential for n8n, I have the tutorial in my school community. You can take a look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and rename this credential Qualified Leads Demo. Click Save. Now we can go over to Google Sheets and create that sheet. All right, in a blank sheet here, I'm actually gonna open up that CSV file we created and just copy the headers up here in the CSV file. Copy that, paste them into row 1. Now, of course, if you know how to use Google Sheets, you can get as fancy as you want right here with the stylings. I'm just going to leave it pretty simple just to demo how this one's actually working. But you can create a nice looking leads list here. I'll come up here and name this leads, and I'll come down here to name this sheet leads. Let's jump back into n8n. I like to choose my document by URL, so drop this down, choose by URL. I'm going to jump back into my list and grab the URL, copy that back into n8n, paste the URL right there. Now the sheet we can grab from the list. We're going to have the leads sheet, and we've got our headers popping in just like that. Now same thing, we can map each column manually or drop this down, click on map automatically. Let's click test step, and there we go. We've got our information in our Google Sheets leads list right here. Again, you can get as fancy as you want, making this look as pretty as you want, but that is going to be the basics of setting up that leads list. I'm going to jump back into n8n, click outside of the node, and there we have it, guys. I'll come up to save the workflow. That is how we can scrape local businesses information with a simple query in n8n form. Now, if you want to utilize this form in a more front-facing way, you can double-click into this form and copy the production URL right here. Switch over to production URL, copy that. I'll just open a new browser window, paste that URL right there. We get this error simply because, let's jump back over to n8n. I'll click outside of this node. We need to activate our workflow. I'll click activate, click got it. Now we can open up that URL, and there's our form to search those businesses. Now, anytime I input something in here, that automation will run and start searching, browsing, qualifying, then inserting all of those leads into Airtable and Google Sheets, the way I have it set up right here. The last little step here is to deactivate our limiter and unpin the data right here. Sometimes data will pin automatically when we're testing out automation. So I'm going to double click into the form node, unpin the data, come into the limiter, hover above it and deactivate the limiter. That way, next time this workflow runs, it'll run all of the businesses gathered here and populate our leads list. There it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep in mind, I will be expanding out this automation as well as fully developing a working and usable CRM in Airtable. So we're going to be building out this automation further and in more depth. Stay tuned for that. Don't forget, you can download these workflows in the school community. I have the link in the description of this video. I hope to see you in the group, and I'll see you in the next video.